You know, one of the coolest things I will ever see is after we've got cattle loaded up, maybe we're just transferring them from one pasture to the other, to see especially how yearlings react after being dry lotted, to turn them out and see them go to grass, and just the excitement. It is if they say, we're free, we're free, we're free indeed, you know, and it's cool to watch. Now, on a more somber note, you know, I am very thankful that the Israelis have gotten gotten some of the hostages back this week. And I can only imagine, what the hostages must feel as they are coming home. They're free. They're free from their captors. I can imagine only in my mind what the families of those who were captured. And unfortunately, there's still a lot of people still there. You know, Jesus said something one day when he was having a little spat with the Pharisees, and it was, if the Son, in John chapter 8, he said, if the Son sets you free, then you're free indeed. And this blew those guys' minds because they could never understand why Jesus would say something about freedom. Because if you're going to be free, that means right now you're incarcerated, you're cursed, you're something, right? And so it really, really got their goat. It really irritated them. And so they sat there and they spat back and forth. But they didn't realize what Jesus was talking about in John. And if you'll just let me say, real simple, real quick, there's a whole lot of people that are not as free as they think they are. At least not in terms of what Jesus was talking about that day. I know I didn't get my freedom. I didn't get my release until I was 19 years old. I thought I had, you know, growing up in church and everything. I thought I figured out what Jesus was talking about. But more specifically, what about you? Are you free? I mean, really? Because the only way to get free, true freedom from two things is through Jesus. What are the two things? Well, I can tell you right now that when Jesus came to this earth, he came to get us squared up with the Father. But he also came to give us life and life more abundantly. And that's not necessarily talking about health, wealth, and all that other stuff. But listen, there's a whole lot of people, and I was one of them, that were absolutely enslaved to hurts, habits, certain hang-ups. There were so many things that I did that I couldn't stop. And I knew they were devastating to me. You know, I've only been in a situation a couple of times when I didn't have any brakes. And I mean, I had a load of cattle, the brakes went out on the pickup, and I had to be pretty creative about getting that thing to stop. And it was a scary feeling that I just couldn't stop. I was powerless. And I look back at my life and I go, you know, before I became a Christian, I was absolutely powerless to stop some of those things that I had chosen to do and were destroying my life. See, Jesus gives you spiritual brakes, the ability to wean, to change, to become a new creation. So Jesus, when he said, I'm going to set you free, number one, it's from ourselves, man, and all those bad choices that we made. But number two, the second thing Jesus meant when he said, if the Son sets you free, that you're free indeed, what he was talking about was something that our great times 1,000 grandparents got us into. It's the curse. So Adam and Eve had a perfect situation. Read it in Genesis. And they chose to push their boundaries. And once those boundaries were pushed, it's called sin, they chose to disobey the Lord. And from that moment on, we are not good with God. So somebody has to pay. Because every generation, you know, we're sinners by nature, sinners by choice. And every generation, some people said it gets worse. I don't know. But we are not square. We ain't good with the Father because we're under that curse. Jesus said, I'm going to set you free from that. My question today to you, has there been a time in your life where you have chosen to tell Jesus that you need him? You've chosen to tell Jesus that you're messy, that you're a sinner? Have you chose to let him set you free? See, that's the bottom line.